And welcome back to the Park in the Bus podcast. It's episode 13, and it's now time for the Sunday Night Sportsbook powered by betonline.ag with our guest tonight, as always, from D-Gens United. It is Leo Kukakis. Leo, what's up, brother?
What up, Capitano? How we feeling today, baby?
Oh, it's great. I'm feeling great. How are you? How you doing this weekend?
It's been a tough weekend, bro. It's been a tough weekend. It's funny because we just lost in some terrible ways, some tough ways, some bad bets, some just some overall bad luck overall. But you know what? I looked at the numbers. We're doing all right today, so hopefully we
That's
can
what
come
it's
through
all
in the
about.
clutch. Sunday night football. That's what we're looking for. We get Sunday night football to go our way, and it's been a solid week. So
All
no real
right.
complaints.
Excellent. Great to hear. Let's get started in Bundesliga this week. How's that sound?
I love it, baby.
All right, we're going to first game, Friday night. Who else? The champs doing what they do best. My goodness. Bayern Munich 8, Schalke 0. Any thoughts?
Shall I get started?
I'll give you – let's talk about it. Man of the match, Serge Gnabry, one of your favorites.
Nonsense. I love Gnabry. I loved Gnabry at West Brom. I loved when Gnabry was able to tell Tony Koulis to eat it in the Champions League final. However, we need to stop the nonsense. Player of the match. The player that Bayern got on a bargain for 40 million euros from Manchester City, Leroy Sané.
All right, I'll run down. Here's Bayern's 11. Manuel Neuer's in goal. They got 4 in the back. Benjamin Pavard, Nicolas Sula, Jerome Boateng, and Lucas Hernandez. Now, 2 holding mids, Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka. We've talked before about how underrated both of these guys are. Mm-hmm. And now this 3-man attacking midfield monster. It's an absolute monster. Thomas Mueller in the middle with Leroy Sané to one side and Serge Gnabry to the other, all sitting behind, only Robert Lewandowski.
The Ballon d'Or winner.
How the heck do you defend against this team if you are Schalke? Let's be honest here.
You hire Otto Rehagel. You find the guys from 2004. You have him organize 11 guys behind the ball and hope for the best.
So you started to talk about Leroy Sané. You want to talk about him? Let's do that. Your first impression of Leroy Sané playing for Bayern Munich and how he fits with everybody else.
It kills me to watch it because, I said it many, many times over the last few years that Leroy Sané and Raheem Sterling are the engine that makes Manchester City go. For those of you that are new to the program, I am a Manchester City guy. Losing Leroy Sané absolutely killed me inside. He's one of my favorite players. He's just he possesses everything. He has incredible speed. He's one of the fastest players in the world. He can cross the ball without a problem. He can go one-on-one against defenders. He has no problem beating them. He can crush free kicks. He has no problem. He is the complete player. Kills me to see him go. So happy to see him back after that knee injury. It was beautiful to watch him play, especially that first goal in the second half when he just out-sprints everybody, taps it around the goalie. Just beautiful stuff from Leroy. He's one of my favorite players in the world. He really is. Complete player, fantastic player. Deserves all the best.
And I touched on Serge Gnabry. Hat trick for Serge in this one. You said last season in that Champions League Elite 8 stage how important he was and how deadly he can be. We saw it, on display here. And Mueller and Lewandowski also with the goal.
No surprise there, Lewandowski. Lewandowski, the best striker in the world, the best pure goal scorer in the world, not necessarily the best player, best pure goal scorer that we've seen in a very, very long time. Him and Luis Suarez, probably 2 of the most underrated players in the world. Suarez kind of dipped off. Lewandowski just keeps getting better and better and better. Thomas Mueller continues to age, but he continues to produce.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
He just finds himself in the right spots, and I love watching him too because he's not the best at anything.
No, you're right.
Popping up at the right spot.
You look at him and you don't think this guy should be any good.
Yeah, you look at him and he kind of looks like the grandpa from Hey Arnold.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, just great stuff from him. Every time I watch him, he impresses me. He pops up in the right spot. And then, Gnabry, like you were just talking about, flying up and down the wing, ends up with a hat trick. He's another guy that just keeps getting better and better and better, and just Bayern looks like a juggernaut already.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go into the first week leaders on goal difference, and They may not squander first place all season. They may sit there all season. Remember the last 2 seasons, they gave Dortmund and company a head start. Remember they fell behind by 8 points last season or more before just deciding that okay, the time to play was over and it was time to get down to business, and they didn't lose again and end up winning the league by a mile.
Do you think the loss of Thiago is going to hurt him at all?
If this game's any indication, no. In Champions League, I think we might notice that a little bit more. And yeah, that's just what Liverpool needed, wasn't
Brutal, man.
it?
Freaking brutal. They got him. They got your boy Diogo Jota.
Yeah, I almost think that's a bit of an ambitious move for him the year before a Euro. He may find himself not playing many minutes this year, and I'm a little concerned now.
We've talked about this off the air. It always amazes me when I see these young players making these kind of moves because it doesn't make sense. I mean,
Except
you're in the
that.
prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's more money, but you're in the
Yeah.
prime of your career, especially for a guy like Diogo Jota. I mean, Wolves is an up-and-coming team. They're getting better and better and better. If you can continue to produce, you're going to get a big money signing from a team that has a spot for you.
You would think, yeah.
So, I mean, you look at it, and it's kind of like, all right, you kind of just cashed in.
Here's my problem with it. Who's he going to replace on that team? I mean, where is Diogo Jota going to fit into that three-man front line? Maybe
on
best
the B
three-man.
team?
Exactly. My point exactly. At Wolves, he was a key guy.
Yeah.
Playing week in, week out. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like what happened with Coutinho when he went to Barcelona, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think Klopp nailed it back then when he said, if you stay at Liverpool, we're going to build a statue for you. If you go to Barcelona, you're just another guy there.
Exactly. And I think that's my feelings here on that move. I mean, you can't hate on a guy for wanting to play for Liverpool and probably, quadruple his salary or whatever. But
yeah,
from a football sense, it worries me because I don't see where he's going to get minutes on that team.
Right. I completely agree.
So we'll move on in the Bundesliga to Saturday's matches. Cologne 2, Hoffenheim 3, Eintracht Frankfurt 1, Arminia Bielefeld 1, Union Berlin 1, Augsburg 3. Stuttgart returned to the Bundesliga with a 2-3 loss to Freiburg. Werder Bremen 1, Hertha Berlin 4. And then the key match yesterday, it should have been a close one, but it kind of worked out a little differently. It's Borussia Dortmund 3, Borussia Mönchengladbach 0. Giovanni Reina with a goal and an assist in this one.
I thought
young American.
Giovanni played really well.
Yeah.
The guy that I looked at, though, that really shined the most for me was Bellingham in the middle of the pitch. This kid's 17 years old. He's one of the best talents that nobody knows about right now. He played for Birmingham last year. This kid has immense talent. Dortmund is the perfect place for him to go and grow as a player, as we see with most young players.
It's amazing.
That end up in Dortmund. I give that kid 2-3 years, and he's going to be a big money move. I think he's going to be better than Jadon Sancho. He has all the talent in the world. He has all the tricks in the book. 17 years old, starts. He had a fantastic match on Saturday. Overall, Dortmund looked really good. I don't consider Dortmund to be threats to the title just because, again, they're kind of stuck in this loop where they're young kids. They don't necessarily have the depth. They don't necessarily have the mentality developed yet to really challenge a team like Bayern Munich for the title or make any type of real inroads in Champions League.
Yeah, they're missing. They could use a little more experience in the team. I mean, they do got Axel Witsel, who's got a lot of experience, but they're a very young team from back to front. And this is a team, if they manage something, they won't. But if they manage to keep this team together for, say, 5 years from now, this Borussia Dortmund team would be unbeatable. But they'll all be on bigger clubs by then, or on buying clubs versus being at a selling club. But what an ability Dortmund have to go find these teenagers. They just keep coming up with more teenagers. I mean, like you just said, Bellingham. This guy comes out of, what was he, Birmingham City's academy?
Yeah, Birmingham City, 17 years old.
They pulled Jadon Sancho. You want to go back to Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna. It's like they go get these guys. They identify them so well as teenagers.
Don't forget about Haaland.
Erling Haaland, exactly. they find these guys as teenagers, and the reason I mentioned the other guys was because they sign them as youth players and move them through the system, through the last phase of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Holland they already signed as a somewhat finished player, a professional, but yeah, including him, they just know how to find these young players and how to put them in the first team and set them up to succeed in the first team. A
Right.
lot of
It's one
teams
of the
try this, and these kids get burned.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, a lot of teams do try it. A lot of teams are unsuccessful. I don't think Borussia Dortmund get enough credit for being the best-selling club in the
Hmm.
world. I mean,
Hmm.
that's really what they are. They're the number one selling club in the world. They
Yeah,
are
they're like
absolutely
cultivators.
incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's
They
ridiculous. I mean,
buy a
like,
seed, they plant it, and they sell the plant. They sell the finished product.
look at the top four. Look at the four guys that they had playing up front.
Hmm.
Bellingham, we just talked about,
Yeah,
17 years old. Gio Reyna, what is he, 18? Or no,
18
he's
or 9.
17.
He's 17 still. That's
He's still
amazing.
17. Two 17-year-olds playing in a Bundesliga
That's
game
unheard of.
in a derby match between Borussia Dortmund
Right.
and Mönchengladbach. I mean,
Exactly.
and both guys play ridiculously well. And then you have Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho's 20 years old.
Oh, he's an
And
old
then you
man.
got Holland, who just turned 20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are,
I mean,
on this team, they're old. It's like
your four-star players are under the age of 21 years
yeah,
old. They can't have a drink in America if they come over for a preseason
correct.
tournament.
Correct.
I mean, at some point, you just put your hands up, and then you lose track of other guys like Akanji, Zagadou, the guys that are playing defense that just continue to get better and better and better for Borussia Dortmund. And it's like, what's the secret? What the hell have they got that everybody else can't figure out?
Yeah, and year after year, and listeners have heard me rave about Bayern Munich since the restart, right? Bayern Munich, I love the way they play, but the club I want to see win and the club I want to see succeed in Germany is Dortmund. And year after year, it's like, this is it. We've got the team this year. Not we, but you know what I mean by saying that.
Yeah.
They got the team this year. And then somewhere, that youth catches up to them. It had a phase in the season where they start dropping results after result, and they lose contact with Bayern at the front of the table.
And then every year it seems to
It
line up
seems to happen.
beautifully.
Yeah.
1 versus 2, and everybody's like, this is it. Dortmund's going to win.
Right.
Dortmund's going to do it. Next thing you know, you have Josh Kimmich chipping the goalie from 30 yards away.
Right.
And you're like, all right.
And then you saw the way it played out after that. They were crushed.
Yeah.
This was it last season or the one before where the same thing. I think Dortmund goes in first place and they're drummed 5-0 by Bayern. And that was the end. That was literally, they never caught him again.
It's tough to watch, man, because you know what? Dortmund's one of those teams. They're one of those clubs. They have the most amazing fan base in the world.
They really do, yeah.
It's really hard to see them just get so close every year and fail miserably for the end. But
it really is. And, again, it's the interest for me in the Bundesliga is the story is how long can Dortmund hold on for? And can anyone dethrone Bayern Munich? That is at the end of the year. That's the main story. But this league is just fun to watch. And
I love the style of play because it's always pressing forward. It's
I agree.
The most underrated league in the world.
Yeah.
These are guys that
I would say I think it's the most entertaining league to watch. The Premier League gets a lot more publicity. Here's the thing people don't always understand. The fact that the Premier League is England and everyone can pronounce the names of the clubs really makes a difference around the world because most of the biggest TV markets in the world are English speaking. United States, Australia, that's just for those two places alone. India, parts of India, they're not primarily English, but they consume a lot of English speaking media. There's the amount of people in those countries is enormous, and they flock to the Premier League to where they say that no league in any other English-speaking nation can compete with the Premier League for coverage, for exposure, because in the English-speaking world, everyone has a favorite team in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, even some of the soccer heads that I talk to around here, they're like, oh, the Premier League, Premier League. Man, you watch the Premier League in and out, week in, week out. I mean, yeah, it's really good. It's one of the best leagues in the world. It does not compare to the Bundesliga. Like, if you watch the quality in the Bundesliga and you take the lower teams from the Bundesliga and you put them against the Premier League, there's no competition. The quality, the style of play. And another thing, this is why Germany's national team has been so good for so long.
Exactly.
There is a certain style of play.
And they all play it.
Correct. And there is no room for error. This is how we're going to play. You're going to coach here. You're going to coach this style. You can pick your formation. This is how you're doing it, though.
Yeah. But you're not
And that's
coming
why
here to play a completely different game. They're not going to tolerate it.
I mean, Germany has the perfect setup. They have the unity right there for Joachim Low that says this is how we're going to play. You have the European giants in Bayern Munich. You have the developers in Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
You have a really competitive Bundesliga 2, which we watched all the time at work while we were in the office.
It's a great league. What are you
man,
talking about?
I miss those 12:30 matchups on a Monday. Oh, man, those were so much fun.
So we're talking about Dortmund, a team with great support. I know fans aren't part of the picture right now. Let's go to a team with absolutely no fan support, RB Leipzig. Great football, very little support because, well, they're a creation of Red Bull. But they pick up they start off. Reds. Yeah, they pick up a victory to start off the season. Remember, no Timo Werner, but still plenty of talent in that team. 3-1 over Mainz, and Wolfsburg 0, Bayer Leverkusen 0. So we look at the table now, and we've already got Bayern up top, like I said. And then you got Hertha Berlin, Dortmund, Augsburg, Leipzig, Freiburg, and Hoffenheim. 7 teams won out of the 10 matches. Is it 10 or 9? There's 18 teams. So out of the 9 matches, you had 7 winners. In a lot of leagues, you get 3 or 4 winners, and you get like 10 teams that drew in the first week. So that's a good indication also. This is going to be I think it's going to be a fun season to follow this league. Leipzig's hungry to get into that top echelon, along with Dortmund. They're always trying to catch Bayern. Of course, it's who's going to catch Bayern is the story, and is it?
Yeah, I mean, Leipzig had a good run at them last year, but this team just isn't as good. I'm just kind of running through the starting 11 for them. Galiski, perfectly fine goalie. Klosterman, Upamecano, Halstenberg. I mean, that's a good back line there, but you have Klosterman, who's naturally a right back, Halstenberg naturally a left back.
Right.
You have them playing as 2 of the 3 guys in the center back. So, I mean, that's less than ideal. Then you have Amadou Haidara. You get a lot of transfer rumors around him. You wonder how committed he's going to be. He did score a goal today, but you don't know what you're going to get from him. Then you have the Putz Angelino, who absolutely sucks. Then in the middle of the pitch, you do have Kevin Campbell. You got a lot of talent there. And then, of course, the young American Tyler Adams. Now, the one player that I'm looking at here that actually didn't start today is going to be Nkuku. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love him. He's a young kid. He's got a lot of pace. He's got a lot of skill, a ton of energy. He's the type of kid that give him another year under the system. He may be the kid that's going to explode next. As a number 10, possibly a small number 9. Mm-hmm. But I really, really like that kid's talent. He's the next big star out of RB Leipzig, I think.
Yeah, and then in front of them, you got Daniel Olmo, Emil Forsberg, and Yusuf Paulsen. Good quality players. And they got a good manager. I'm a big fan of Julian Nagelsmann. He's younger than I am. I think that says something right there. But he's a manager with a huge future. I think the next move for him is going to be to a real big club. But if he can build a team that can really contend for this title, that can really be there at the end, I think he can. All of these players can really secure themselves with a move to a life-changing club, if you will.
I completely agree with you, but I just don't think that this is the year for them. I mean,
I don't think it's this year either necessarily. It's a project right now.
Yeah. I can see it maybe 2-3 years if they can keep the same guys, but it's very similar to Dortmund. Can they keep the same group together?
Right. Okay, so that's Germany. Let's go to Italy. The Serie A started this weekend. I'm going to bring up the results right now here on my screen, and we'll stay on the topic of Americans. Weston McKennie starting today, playing 90 minutes for Juventus. I watched the game. He played well. Really interesting to see a young American going from a team that nearly got relegated in Germany to the Italian champions. And so here's the results in Serie A this weekend. Started yesterday. Fiorentina 1, Torino 0, LS Verona 0, Roma 0. Today we had Parma 0, Napoli 2, Genoa 4, Crotone 1, Sassuolo 1, Cagliari 1, and then Juventus 3, Sampdoria 0, with Milan and Bologna to play tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll go back to this Juve game. I'll read you it was Pirlo's first official match as a manager, and believe it or not, he was the B team manager or the U23s just long enough to get hired, to get promoted. Literally, he had 9 days in charge.
I love
And let's go to the lineup here. All right, so you had Szczesny in goal. They went with 3 at the back today. All right, they went with Danilo, Leonardo Bonucci, and Giorgio Chiellini. 5 in midfield: Juan Cuadrado, Aaron Ramsey, Adrian Rabiot, Weston McKennie, and Gianluca Frabotta. Up front, Dejan Kuvalevsky and Cristiano Ronaldo. Goals by Kuvalevsky, Bonucci, and Cristiano Ronaldo. So McKennie got himself sort of an assist. I like to what I consider an assist. It was on a corner kick. Him and Bonucci actually went up for the same header, and what happened was they headed the ball off each other, which dropped it right there. So McKennie got a foot to it. The goalkeeper saved it, but it fell right to Bonucci, who put it in. So, and then Ronaldo had his at the very end. Big game for Aaron Ramsey today. He was the man of the match. FotMob's got him at an 8.7 rating. He had a couple of assists. It's a much higher tempoed Juventus team. So they made mention of it on ESPN Plus. It was Matteo Bonetti was the commentator, and he's talking about how under Sarri you had a Juventus team that liked to sit back, that liked to be patient and to wait. Under Pirlo, they picked it up and they went after it right from the beginning. They actually played a better first half than they did the second half, despite getting 2 goals in the second half. But they really took it to Sampdoria. A good way to start the season, 3-0. You can never complain about that as the start. But I really think this is the year Serie A is going to be competitive until the end. I don't know. What do you think for this season? I think Inter's gonna be there all season.
Inter is the one team that I can see that could compete.
That's where I think the race is. I think it's probably a 2-team race, but I think it's going to go right to the last day.
Every other team, no chance. Inter, potentially. We talked about it a few weeks ago. If they're able to keep Lukaku, they're able to keep Laturo, they're able to keep Conte, are they going to be able to compete? I think that they will be able to. I still like Juve. Really, the signing, though, that really not a whole lot of people have talked about is this kid that started right next to Ronaldo today, Dejan Kovalevsky. Yeah. He played last year for Parma. He ends up scoring 10 goals in 36 starts. Very, very talented young man, 20 years old.
And he had one today already.
Yeah, I mean, he's a top-notch player. I love what Juve is trying to do. They're trying to get younger. They're trying to get better while still having the old guys there like Bonucci, Chiellini. They still had, I believe, Cuadrado
on
the right-hand side.
Yeah, he's playing down the right.
And then in the middle of the pitch, you still have the young guys. I still consider Rabiot to be relatively young. You got Weston McKennie, the young American. But then again, up top, you have one young guy and
one
I'm going to
guy.
mispronounce it. Yeah. So, I mean, Juve, very, very good at transitioning. They're kind of sort of like Bayern Munich on a lesser scale because they don't really do it in Europe. But they're very, very good at intertwining the young kids with the older players.
Yeah, and they had, I think they said 4 injuries. So Paulo Dybala was injured. You were missing Matthias de Ligt. So you had some key guys out also. So that team is going to get better.
Right. They were also missing Alexandro and Bernardeschi today as well.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, Alexandro and Bernardeschi. That's right. So, I mean, this is a league I'm obviously going to watch and I'm going to keep an eye on. But so you don't think Atalanta is going to be in the race this year?
No. I really think that Atalanta is going to drop off. This isn't they're really entertaining to watch. They really are. They're a joy to watch, but they're not that good. Even last year, they're the type of team that got hot. They got a couple good draws. They got a couple good bounces along the way. They were never really in it for the title. I mean, they got hot toward the end of the year. Yeah, they ended up 1 game away or 1 point away, I think.
That was Inter.
No. They finished right behind Inter. Going into the last game of the year. It was 2 versus 3. Inter ended up winning.
Yeah.
I don't think Atalanta's gonna do a lot of things this year. I think they're gonna benefit really from a down year in Serie A. Napoli's definitely weaker. Roma look absolutely horrible right now.
Mm-hmm.
I hope AC Milan. AC Milan is the team I look at.
You want to see them back in the picture?
Yeah, man, they're one of those teams that I grew up watching them. I loved Pirlo. I loved Gattuso. Gattuso was one of my favorite players. Oh, what a number 6. And, Zlatan right now, still my favorite player in the world. I love that dude. I don't care how old he gets. Lions don't compare themselves to humans. That is my dude. I just every time he steps on the field, it just like my heart gets warm and fuzzy, and I'm like, let's go! Like I could have money on the opposite team, and if Zlatan beats me,
And
I'm still okay with it.
a lot of people probably forget Pirlo made his name at Milan. A lot of people remember him at Juve, and he was long before that. He was a staple in a Milan team with Kaká, Rui Costa, with Gattuso, with
Inzaghi.
Inzaghi, Shevchenko,
Mm-hmm.
Maldini, Alessandro Nesta.
Speaking of those guys, did you see the picture of Maldini and Shevchenko wearing the AC Milan jerseys the other day?
I did not.
Jesus Christ, they look old. Oh man, that was the first time I looked at them and I said, "My God, I'm
You
old."
want to know? You know something that earlier this week for Mr. Benfica, I did a flashback episode where I watched the 1990, what's now the Champions League final, and it was Benfica and AC Milan. Paolo Maldini was the starting left back in 1990, 30 years ago.
Jesus Christ, we're old.
Carlo Ancelotti was starting in the holding midfield role for Milan. It was
way.
It was so cool to see that. Yeah, it was unreal.
Speaking of Ancelotti, how about Everton this weekend, huh?
Yeah.
Nice little team. Are they going to make a run to the top 4?
You want to go to England?
Yeah, man. Let's
go to the
England.
Premier League then.
Yeah, and by the way,
yeah,
fun little rant right here. Hey, NBCSN, what the hell? Can you put a damn game on the screen, please? What the? I shouldn't have to be searching all over the place for Chelsea and Liverpool. It should be NBCSN or NBC. I'm sick of this peacock nonsense.
Well, welcome to the new normal, like they say, Leo. This is the future. Streaming is where this game is going. We're gonna have to get used to it. As a fan of the UFC, I'm used to paying to watch things, so I guess I'm less put off by it. But or maybe just because I listen to World Soccer Talk every week, I knew this was coming. But yeah, a lot of key matches are going to be on Peacock this year. Listeners need to be aware of that. If you're expecting to see it over the air on TV, you're going to get some matches because, I'll use this now to talk about it. Last week, we're going to go back last week because this is a big story, and I wanted to get your opinion, Leo. NBC over the air, okay, Channel 7 here in Boston. Okay. Well, actually, NBC 10 now in Boston. They put Liverpool versus Leeds. That was the highest rated game in like 7 seasons on NBC.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, man.
And it was like tailor-made to be the opener, wasn't it? The champion against the championship champion, if you will. And people, I think, underestimate just how big Leeds' following is.
Yeah, I mean, people forget that they were European giants for a long time.
They were right there. They were in the semifinals, with guys like Rio Ferdinand and Mark Viduka, and I can go down the list of Jonathan Woodgate. They had names of players that, they were on the verge of getting to a Champions League final before everything went sour. They overspent and then they went bust. But they were very close. Yeah. So here's the results.
And they were, and it wasn't like a one-off type of.
No, they were good for
years.
And they had a solid run in the 60s and 70s also, and then they flattened out a little bit. They were the last champions of the English First Division before the creation of the Premier League.
Right.
So that's, and then Eric Cantona went to Manchester United and everything changed. But so here's our results in the Premier League this weekend. We got Everton 5-2 over West Brom. Leeds 4-3 over Fulham. I watched this one on Peacock. Yep. The Parking the Bus Network is paying a subscription to Peacock. That's right, NBC.
That's right, folks.
I'll take
news to me too, everybody.
Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I say this as a fallen away United supporter. United 1, Crystal Palace 3. Enough said?
How do you feel?
You see my
Go ahead.
reaction?
I did, but I'd like you to
Exactly
elaborate.
how I felt when people got carried away thinking that they were going to be contenders this season just because they went on a little run when they brought in Bruno Fernandes last season. Okay? You need a team. And I'm sorry, when Paul Pogba's in your team, that team is ready to explode at any time. That's just my view of him. I don't have a very favorable view of that player. I
You
think
don't like Pogba?
he quits all the time. And with him
Really?
goes the rest of the team. Yes, he sunk Jose Mourinho because he got into it with him. And I think he's horrible in terms of leadership. I think he's a brilliant player. He's got great talent, but I think he can quickly turn into a cancer in the locker room. And I'm not shocked that they got, as soon as there's a little expectation put on United, the cookies come crumbling down. And not a good start, but you got Arsenal 2-1 winners over their London rivals, West Ham. Move to today's matches. Speaking of Jose Mourinho, 5-2 winner over Southampton on the road today. Brighton 3, Newcastle 0. Here's the big one today. I wasn't even going to talk about this yet, but we got Chelsea 0, Liverpool 2. So that's a big match so early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I could say the same about Frank Lampard here. Everybody's raving about his ability as a manager. Yeah, he did a good job last year, but now the stakes are a little higher. They're expected to compete this year. You get the champions in round 2, and you lose at home 2-0. Goalkeeper had a horrid day. Sadio Mane with 2 goals. The second one was an absolute gift. And Liverpool already, 6 points from 2 matches. Leicester City 4-2 winners at home over Burnley. And then we got 2 matches tomorrow. Aston Villa hosts Sheffield United, and Wolverhampton hosts your boys, Manchester City, tomorrow at 3:15.
Hey, baby. 3:15, baby.
So, yeah, I mean, Leicester right now are top of the table on goal difference. They're a goal ahead of Everton and Arsenal. Liverpool a goal behind them. But you got 5 teams with 6 points.
So kind of where I'm sitting right now mentally is not necessarily on the week-to-week thing. I kind of wanted to touch on what we're expecting for the entire season this year. For the season, I mean, you got the top 4 from last year. I think it's obviously Liverpool, Manchester City. Those 2 are going for the title. You can go back and forth. Obviously, I'm pulling for Manchester City to pull it off again this year. Set those clowns in their place because I'm getting real sick of them. But
after 1 year.
The problem is, one of my cousins that I'm closest with, he's a Liverpool fan, and my God, is he obnoxious. I'm so sick of listening to him.
They already forgot they waited 30 years for 1 title.
30 years? Dude, I've been winning I'm bored of winning the Premier League. My main concern now is the Champions League.
Sure.
We've won the Premier League so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But my real question comes in the top 4, and kind of like what you mentioned with Manchester United. Every time there's a little bit of pressure, a little bit of expectation, they seem to crumble. Chelsea, similar situation. There's a lot of pressure. They went out. They spent a lot of money. Their owner is not the type of owner that likes to relax and wait for things to happen. So that's going to add even more pressure on Lampard. How's he going to react to it if things get off to a kind of sort of slow start? That might open up a couple spots here in the top 4. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking at teams like Everton and especially Arsenal. These are 2 teams that I look at and I say, you know what? Everton is sneaky good. This James Rodriguez deal is going to be a big deal for them. Yeah. You can see immediately that he makes a huge change. In the first match against Tottenham, he created 5 chances.
Mm-hmm.
He was the man of the match. And then yesterday, I mean, they scored 5 goals. They look fantastic moving forward. They have so much talent. Calvert-Lewin looks like he's starting to grow into his own. They have Richarlison on the other wing, James Rodriguez. They have plenty of guys in the back. They have the best goalie in England outside of Ederson and Becker with Jordy Pickey.
Sure.
So they're a very, very dangerous team to watch this year. If they can stay healthy, that is a team that I look at and say, you know what? They could surprise everybody and sneak into the top 4, especially with Ancelotti as their manager. But the other one is Arsenal. Mikel Arteta, he is doing such a good job putting aside the results, the fact that they've won their first 2 games for a minute, have you watched the games at all?
I haven't seen Arsenal yet. No.
They look like Arsenal. Like
Hmm.
it's kind of nice to watch because I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Arsenal. I don't know why. I always felt bad for them. They had such an amazing run with Thierry Henry and all those boys, and
Sure.
next thing you know, they just completely fall off, and they still have that big field. They're like a big field club, but they're not really a big club at the moment.
Right.
So I'm looking at them, and I really think that this could be their year to really sneak back into that top four. Pierre Aubameyang's playing out of his mind. Lacazette's a monster. Nicola Pepe, I love Pepe. You got other players like Saka. If they can figure out the back line, which Gabriel is doing a great job of holding down right now, that is a very, very dangerous team. There's not a whole lot missing there. They have Denis Ceballos in the middle of the field. They have other attacking options on the wings that could really, really make a difference. They have the wing backs needed in Hector Bellerin, Maitland-Niles, Kieran Tierney, the Bosnian dude, Kolasinac. They have plenty of talent on that team. If they can just figure out the center backs, and again, Gabriel, through 2 games, has looked really good, really strong. They still have a pretty solid goalie in Berlino as well. I'm looking at Arsenal. I'm thinking, you know what? If United and Chelsea start to, clench up a little bit, look out for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Those boys could sneak back into the top four. That would be huge for them.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to be there. I'm interested to see where two teams particularly fall. Tottenham and Wolves. They could go either way. And it's gonna be, I think, really interesting to see how the season unfolds. I think Wolves not having European football to worry about and being fresh week after week can either fall from that pack or they can, be up there in fifth fighting for fourth, depending on how results go. They just picked up Nelson Semedo, by the way, another Portuguese player. Another I guess one leaves, one gets replaced, right? Jota goes to Liverpool, and they bring in Semedo from Barcelona, and I think he's going to be a fantastic fit there, to be honest, because he attacks, he goes forward really well, and when you bring in players from a higher level like that into a Wolves, a team that's ambitious, team trying to climb and get into that upper echelon, I think they're going to be really hungry, and it's going to be interesting to see. But Tottenham with Jose Mourinho, that's always a powder keg. It can go one of two ways, and I'm waiting to see which way this one's going to go this season. Started with the loss to start the season, so the pressure started, and he was blaming the referees, but he was blaming his players. You know what I'm saying? He's doing what he does, and the press love this. Sky Sports, NBC, they love covering this guy because he gives them so much material to work with. You can tell the story however you want. Now they pick up a 5-2 win on the road today at Southampton. I'm interested to see where Tottenham will be come round
Don't
7, round
forget.
8.
Don't forget, they also have Gary Bale.
That's
His
right, but
return.
did he not fail the medical, though? I read that they
Uh,
revealed an injury. I don't know if that put the transfer in doubt, but
today?
I believe I read that Tottenham. You know what? I'm going to click on Tottenham here. Pretty sure
Yeah.
they found an injury in his physical, but let's see here.
Okay, let's take
It
a
doesn't
look.
mean that the deal's off by any means. He just may be further away from playing. There's no headline under Tottenham's page here on FOTMob. So, plus they got, they got Son, they got a strong team. I think, again, if the team can stay together as a unit and they can be a functional team, they can compete. If they're gonna, combust, self-destruct, as you will, like when you used to
Right.
watch Inspector Gadget as kids, and he'd get the note, this message will self-destruct. That sometimes is Jose Mourinho teams. This team will self-destruct in 3, 2, 1. So it'll be interesting to see.
So I love Mourinho. I think Mourinho is one of the best managers in the world. I love how he plays. I love how he sets things up. I think he has a really good team in front of him this year. The problem is, I keep reading about how Spurs want to keep making more moves and making more transfers and spending more money. I don't know how that's going to work because that it takes time to blend. And Tottenham just built this massive stadium. They basically went bankrupt on it. They don't have money to
I was
start
just
with.
going to go to the stadium. That's right, because they're strapped. Because of the stadium, their budget is limited on transfers. So
It's
it's
while
one
it may be
spend
limited,
money, but but you want to spend money well. You don't just want to spend it. And to get the kind of guys that they would need, I think could be outside of their reach right now.
They are trying to drink champagne on a Kool-Aid budget, man.
Exactly,
They
exactly.
cannot,
Balling on
and
a
it's
budget.
just like, yeah, and it's just not going to work with Mourinho. Like it's really going to fail at some point. I'm telling you, I do not think that this is going to work.
I hope they're filming another season of All or Nothing right now for the Tottenham so we can see all this
I
unfold.
mean, Mourinho, I love Mourinho. Again, I love his style of play. I
Yeah.
love the way that he does things. I think that this would be a good team from him. He doesn't seem totally invested in it, though. He kind of seems like he took the job for the money, which
It's
is,
quite possible. It's quite
you
possible.
know, and what did they pay him? They paid him double what Pochettino got.
Right.
So, I
So,
mean,
like I said, it'll be fun to watch what happens to them this season, one way or another. I wanted to give you time for this because we're running out of time, but I did want to go to Greece so we could talk about the Greek league. All right, Super League Greece. Where are we at? Round 2 now?
yes, round two for some teams.
For some teams.
Panathinaikos,
Some teams are playing their
Panathinaikos,
first.
yeah. Panathinaikos didn't play this week. We had the week off. Friday, PAOK Atromito draw 1-1. You guys know PAOK very well. Your boy Zivkovic scores
He
once
scores
again.
again.
On Friday, and then you have Olympiacos. Stunning turn of events. 0-0. Atromito playing very well. Next thing you know, one stupid call, another stupid yellow card. Hey, look at that. Olympiacos is up 3-0. Stunning turn of events there. Um, Then on Saturday, let's pull these up. Pull these up. We only had one game. It was Ike beating
Ike.
Patolico 2-0.
Mhm.
Ike is going to be a very, very good team this year. I think that Ike and Panathinaikos are going to be 2-3 in the league. Of course, Olympiacos is going to cheat their way to another title. Nothing new there. But yeah, I think Ike and Panathinaikos, they're going to be very, very good teams. Our ban is finally lifted, so I'm expecting good things from us. Possibly playing European football again next year, which would be amazing. But on to today's results. You have Ofi beating Lamia in a big, potentially big game for who's going to be at the bottom of the table this
Mhm.
year. Either of these teams are going to be very good. And then you have Adi, the story of last year, a team that really did compete very well. They end up finishing in 4th place. Very, very dangerous team. It's good to see Adi back in the Super League. Them and PAOK, huge rivalry in Thessaloniki. They love to burn the place down when these two meet. Adi come up with a 1-0 win against Volu Simena today. That was a really good result for them. As for tomorrow, no games in Greece. That's pretty much the end of round 2.
Mhm.
Panathinaikos picks up a 1-0 win in a friendly match against Levodiakos, which I don't totally understand why we're playing friendly matches,
It
but
says here that the match was postponed, so the scheduled one. I don't know the reason, but is there COVID
no,
issues going on in the league?
no, no.
Because it's got you guys playing today, but then crossed out as postponed with the
Nope,
no.
nope. There
So
was no, not to my knowledge, there was no COVID.
okay, I mean, there's matches getting postponed all the time, and I don't always know why either.
Yeah, I mean, it's like frustrating
Yeah,
because it's kind of like college football. I don't know if you followed college football at all, but
a little bit. Some
some
leagues
of
are
these
playing, some
games,
aren't. Right? Some
some are
conferences are.
playing, some aren't, and then you have weeks like this week where there was like a minor outbreak in one of the teams. 8 games got postponed because of it,
Yeah,
and it's just like, all right, cool,
yeah. We just got to
but
keep adjusting and keep adapting, right?
that's the beauty of soccer because
Yeah,
there's so many leagues that even if one or two shut down, that's all right. We got the Premier League, we got the
yeah.
Bundesliga, we got Liga 1. It's not like a few months ago when we were
Hmm.
watching Belarus and soccer.
Oh, we were excited to watch it.
Oh my God! Remember all the games were free up on YouTube too.
Yeah, they
Oh
made
my,
the most of that, didn't they? All right, that's going to be it for this week, Leo. We'll definitely look back at those leagues a little closer as the season goes on. It's not much to talk about in the first couple of weeks. We hit on, I think, all the major talking points this weekend. What do you got coming up this week? Oh, we do have one match I wanted to bring up. What do you have? What are you seeing right now towards this week's UEFA Super Cup? Bayern Munich versus Sevilla. Um, it's, I believe, Thursday. It's the UEFA Super Cup. What do you think of that match, and what are the bookies saying?
So I mean, we've definitely touched on Bayern Munich and how good
Yeah,
Bayern Munich are going to be again this year. Bookies currently have Bayern Munich listed as minus 280 to win on the money line. No real surprise there. The draw is at plus 450, and Sevilla is at plus 650 to end up winning the match. It all depends on how seriously Bayern Munich take it. I mean,
exactly.
it comes down to that really. That being said, it's German. It's a German team. It's Bayern Munich. I still expect them to take it very seriously. Then I don't really know if Sevilla is going to take this match seriously. So I mean, if you ask me, I think Bayern Munich continue to roll. They continue to do their thing. They'll probably switch up their lineup a little bit, probably get some new legs in there, and dominate the game either way.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I have a hard time betting against Bayern Munich right now, no matter who they face, to be honest. There's
It's
just it doesn't matter the context. They're such professionals that every match to them they take with the level of professionalism and they get the job done. So I see Bayern Munich lifting that trophy.
So we're coming out of the restart. You remember a couple games? I had probably a 4 or 5 game stretch where I bet against Bayern Munich every
Yes, you
time,
did. Yes, you did.
and I would text you in the middle of the game. Why do I do this to myself every week? Why do I keep doing myself?
And every week you thought that the line was too good to pass up.
Yeah, man. Every week I'd be like, no, no, I'm gonna take the spread. 3 goals. Bayern Munich's not gonna win by
They win
three.
7-0.
Yeah, it'd be like 6-0 at halftime.
Legitimate. All right, Leo. Thank you for joining me. Well, where can the listeners find you? I'm sure they know by now, but anyone that's new listening, where can they find you?
Anybody that's new listening is about damn time, folks. DJs United podcast. You can find us on Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much anywhere your heart desires for your podcasting needs. Be sure to check out our website, djsunited.com. We obviously give out bets every single day. Obviously, soccer is one of the biggest sports around because there's so many games. There is a bunch of value. But my specialty is the daily fantasy sports lineups for the Premier League, especially in FanDuel. I'm very, very good at it. I'm one of the best around. I'm not one of those guys that toot their horn like, yo, I'm the best. No, I'm genuinely good at it. I had my first 2 lineups that I posted on the website have cashed, and they have cashed relatively easy. Premier League lineups, you won't regret it.
All right. All right. Thank you, Leo. We'll talk again next week, and we may very well be live next week. So be ready for that, everybody. Stay tuned to
baby.
PTB Media's Twitter. That's it's at PTB_media. We'll tweet out a time, and you can catch us on this segment live next week under the new format for this show. Hopefully, we'll get that off the ground next week. All right. So until then, Leo, thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Good night, Capitano.
Take it easy. We'll be right back with a look at the English Championship. After this, we'll look at the EFL before we say goodbye for another week.